Hey dolls, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Lindsay P, and we are back with a makeup tutorial today, y'all. It has been a good minute since we have had a dedicated makeup video here on this channel, and I know a lot of you are new here, but this actually did start as a beauty channel, and I kind of wanted to tap back into that a little bit, so hopefully you guys don't mind. So if you want to see how I achieve this full glam yet natural makeup look, then go ahead and keep watching. So skincare is on, face is looking pretty good. I am tweaking my routine just a little bit, so we're gonna test this out and actually see how it performs and let you guys know like which new products I'm gonna be adding into it. And one of the new products I'm testing out today is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Glow Serum. I have seen this on TikTok for quite some time now, and I've been wanting to try it because everybody's makeup looks so good. I've tried it once before and I think I like it, but I need to like try it with other products. The only thing that I've noticed is I don't like it underneath my eyes, so I'm going to avoid that area. It says that you can wear it both underneath makeup or alone, and you definitely can. Like the radiance that it gave my skin, if I just wanted literally a no makeup look, I would do this, concealer, gloss, done. However, you guys know I'm a combo oily girl, so I'm gonna go in my T-zone with the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Water to Powder Serum. I have legit used it every single day since I picked it up. So I'm putting that here and just kind of like pressing it in where I get oily, which is literally just in the center of my face. And then to prime underneath my eyes, I'm going in with my Bobbi Brown Vitamin E Enriched Eye Base. I'm just really testing this out to see if it makes a difference. I'm not sure if it's pregnancy or if it's just like my skin is changing with age. Probably a combination of both. But my under eye can look a little dry sometimes compared to the rest of my face. So I've been really intentional about, you know, making sure there's moisture there. Okay, now that the skin is all prepped and primed and ready to go, I'm gonna work on my brows while we let that marinate. I have really been loving the Urban Decay Slick Brow. So I love it because it has this really fine tooth comb. And when I tell y'all this is brow lamination in a bottle, it really is. I just brush that onto my brows like so, and it is gonna hold my brow hairs in place all day. And I do want a little bit more of a fluffier brow look today, so I'm gonna go in with this L'Oreal brow pencil. This is their faux brow, and it's also supposed to give like a micro blading effect. So I'm just gonna take that and mostly at the front of my brow start to create some hair-like strokes. So I do really like this pencil, guys, but I wish there was only one pencil part to this pen, because I feel like it's hard for me to get really precise and make sure that I'm not building up the product too much with it being a dual tip kind of thing. But the performance of it is really great. You guys can see it filled in my brows really nicely, but I am gonna go in with my pencil. This is my Sephora Collection brow pencil, and I'm going to use that to kind of sharpen up the brow a little bit and fill in the areas that I could not get as precise with the L'Oreal brow pen. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of color corrector. This is the Morphe color corrector in the shade Wake Up Artist. Is that the shade? No, in the shade Cinnamon 4. And I'm mostly gonna focus it around my mouth area. I am gonna blend it up and out in other places, but I don't want too much product. Taking my Dermablend powder, I'm just gonna take a little bit of it and set here, just to help with the longevity as well as to tone the color down a little bit before we go in with our concealers and stuff like that. Okay, now for concealer, I'm going in with an old favorite of mine. This is my Giorgio Armani Power Play Concealer. I use the shade 11. I don't know why more people are not talking about this. This is such Such a good concealer. If you like the NARS concealer, which is another favorite of mine, this has a bit more coverage and it does not crease or anything. So highly recommend this concealer. I'm also going to use this to carve out my brow. I'm going to use this at the tip of my brow, and then we're going to go in with a lighter concealer at the tail end of it. And for the tail end of my brow, I am using NARS Amande or Amande, which is just a slight bit lighter than the Giorgio Armani concealer. And to blend everything out, I'm using my Danessa Myricks concealer brush. Y'all, as you can see by this tutorial, I am officially a Danessa Myricks stan. Like, I have not tried one single product from her I don't like. So I am gonna go back in with my NARS concealer and go right on top of that to give us like a really natural highlight. If I wanted to be really snatched and really highlighted, I would take this and just pop it in the inner corners. This is in the shade Biscuit. Since we're here, why not? I just literally pop it right here. Okay, now that the concealer is on, I want to let that dry down for a little bit. So I'm going to go in and carve out my cheeks. To do that, I have really been loving two products. One, no surprise, is the Danessa Myricks Cream Contour. This I bought at Sephora, but I don't see it in Sephora anymore, so you might have to get this off of the official website. If they discontinue this, then that would be a tragic story, because look how much is left. I love it because you literally don't need much. This is the Sephora Collection Blush and Glow Blush. If you like a really lightweight, barely there kind of blush look, this is definitely the product for you. Look at how watery it looks on my skin. I, for one, wish it was just a little bit more pigmented, but for summer makeup, the key is light layers of products. My face is gonna be snatched all day, but I'm not gonna feel like cake face, you know what I mean? Then I'm gonna take Juvia's Place, which we all know is extremely pigmented. This is in the shade Pink Lady, how fitting. And I am just going to go right above that on the apples of my cheeks before we blend out. If this was a nighttime look, I would definitely go in with something a little bit more full coverage, but because I'm doing a daytime look, I'm gonna go in with this. This is my ABH, I think, tinted moisturizer stick. This is probably the best tinted moisturizer I have ever used. Like, look at the blend. If you guys have not tried this, I highly recommend you try it. I think it's maybe like 30 something bucks, but well worth it. You get a good amount of product. I'm gonna go ahead and blend out my under eye before we set everything. Anywhere that I blend out the concealer, I'm gonna go back over with my foundation brush and lightly buff out the edges, because that is how you avoid harsh lines. I should have just called this a full face of Danessa Myricks, because I'm going in with her setting powder to set underneath my eyes. This is the first pink powder that I felt like really works for me. It is super fine and super lightweight, so I like it for the first layer of powder, because I am going to bake afterwards, and this just gets the job done. However, to set the rest of my face, we're going in with Huda. So this is in the shade Cinnabon, and I'm gonna take just a little bit and tap that everywhere else. Okay, now to bake my under eye. I'm gonna go in with an old favorite. I actually need to get a new one. Do y'all see how little is left in here? This is the Sephora Collection setting powder. This is their translucent powder. Listen to me when I tell you, this is a dupe, solid dupe for the Laura Mercier powders. Argue with your mama, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Sephora Collection, they get it right. They definitely get it right. So taking my Sephora Collection sponge, I'm just gonna tap into here and then tap the back access on the back of my hand, and we are going to lightly bake. So for my blush, I'm going to be using, once again, a combination of two blushes. I'm going to be going in with an oldie but a goodie, but this is the Marina Butte blush in Terre Rouge. It's this beautiful brick red kind of color, and it's matte, no shimmer, which I think is the route that I want to go today. I want all of the glow to be from the glowy skin serum, so I think I want to keep the blushes pretty matte today. And to apply that, I'm using my Sephora Collection Angle Diffuser brush. They no longer make this. Sad freaking story. They need to bring this back. This is the best blush brush of all time. If you guys know any other brands that make a brush with a similar shape, let me know, because I'm holding on to this one for dear life, and I just hope it doesn't give out on me anytime soon. And then to top off the pink blush that I put on the apples of my cheeks, I'm gonna go in with the Haus Labs blush. This is in the shade Dragon Fruit Days, and it's this really pretty pink. And I'm just going to smile and tap, smile and tap. I'm also gonna take a little bit of that and set. This is the Sephora setting powder again, and I'm just gonna set my eyelids and the concealer that we put underneath the brows. I forget to set that sometimes, but it's important, girl. If you don't want all that slipping inside in, make sure you set your brow concealer. Okay, this is summertime. If you want to be bronze, this is the bronzer for you. This is the NYX Butter Bronzer, and I am in the shade, what shade is this? Butter Bronzer in Deep Rich. Very pretty bronzer. You don't need much, okay? And I'm gonna go underneath the blush and kind of just fling that up into the blush. And then to really look super snatched, I'm gonna go in with MAC. This is the MAC bronzer in the shade Richer Golden, and it looks like this. And in the pan, it doesn't look that deep, but y'all can see the depth that it adds there. So I really just focus that in the hollows of my cheek. I don't bring it up too much, because then it can kind of get to looking muddy. So I like to approach bronzing my face with an ombre kind of finesse to it. That way you can't really see where my bronzer starts and my blush starts, and it just all kind of is a nice gradient. But that does mean that you have to blend and use multiple products. So that is what I'm doing. And then to buff in between those two, I've been using my Dior bronzer. This is more of a neutral tone, so it's not going to add or take away any of the color that we put, but it is going to be a nice transition between that harsher MAC bronzer and the really warm NYX bronzer. And this, unfortunately, is the darkest shade that they have, and this is in the shade 40 Deep Matte. And that blonde bronzer, I am gonna kind of work down and up between the two, but not go as high as where I put my blush. And because it is more on the neutral side, that is the one that I also like to use to carve out my nose contour. And I don't like my nose contour to be super precise, so I use, you know, a pretty fluffy brush to do that. We're also gonna take that and kind of just work it on the eyelids. I'm not doing any eyeshadow today. I'm not going anywhere that I feel like I need to do any eyeshadow, but if you are gonna do eyeshadow, now would be the time to do it. Me, I'm just gonna do pretty much what we did with the bronzers on the eyelids. So this is my first transition. I'm gonna go in with the MAC and put it in the crease just to add a little bit of depth. Nothing too crazy. You could also put this all over the eyelid if you wanted more of a smoky kind of look. This would be good for that too. Okay, now taking the same brush, I'm gonna go in with the NYX and put that all over the lid. You could also not be extra and just use one color, but you know, I am extra, so hence the multiple dimensions here. All right, in my lash line, I'm gonna take a Sephora Collection pencil. This is in the shade Matte Terracotta, because I don't want a super harsh lash line, but I do want something down there. I have been using the Essence Princess Lash Mascara, and y'all, this mascara is like, what, $3? And it's so good. Now, I know I'm not supposed to put mascara on my falsies, but we are struggling on this side with my falsies, so I am gonna put some at the base just to make them look a little thicker. Today is Saturday, my refill is Tuesday. We gonna be all right. Okay, and to buff away the powder underneath my eyes, we're going back old school with MAC. This is their new Studio Fix powder, and I am in the shade C8, and I only use this to buff out my under eyes. You guys can see here, it's a nice, cool, neutral tone. And the lady at MAC was telling me, because I am a neutral warm, putting a warm blending powder underneath doesn't really work for me, so she recommended this shade, and I was like, okay, let's try it. Look at that, it looks so good. Now on TikTok, the girls are saying that they like the old formula more. I haven't used the old formula in so long that I don't even really remember what it performs like. However, this is still pretty good if you ask me. And I loved it so much that I did also pick it up in my foundation shade, which is NW48. So I'm gonna take a light dusting of that and just use that as my final setting situation. Pretty much from here you can go in and do whatever lip combo you would like, but I am highlighting kind of like new products / my summer makeup routine, so I'm gonna go in with a couple new lippies that I picked up. I was in MAC the other day picking up those powders, and I picked up this shade. This is in the shade Hodgepodge. Beautiful shade. And then I've also picked up an oldie but a goodie, but the shade Teddy. But I think I'm gonna go in with Hodgepodge, and then I'm gonna top it. This is not new, but it is one of my favorite MAC shades. This kind of like peachy nude shade, and this is in the shade Mars to Your Venus. So, and then I also picked up a Lip Bar lip gloss. Let's go ahead and line our lips. I'm taking my Makeup Forever lip liner. And going back in with my Sephora Collection eyebrow pencil. Y'all, I use these interchangeably on my lips and my eyes all the time. They're so creamy and so good. Then just dabbing a little bit of that Hodgepodge around the edges, and then taking Mars to Your Venus right on in the center. Now taking the Lip Bar gloss. This is in the shade Sweet Talk, and I'm gonna use that. Oh yeah, that's really pretty. Okay, and I'm gonna take Fenty Hot Chocolate just to deepen the edges of the liner. The powders are pretty much melted in already, but for extra assurance, we're gonna do Morphe. Now, we're gonna go ahead and set everything with one size. All right, loves, this is the finished makeup look, my summer glam. It's lightweight, yet still full glam, and it's gonna last me all day.